Hello students, welcome to another class biology by Dr. Shabana Khan. Here we're looking at a series of lectures on inheritance. This lecture would be on sex determination in humans. Now we've done that there are 46 chromosomes present in the human nucleus, and out of this we say that they are arranged in pairs and which are termed as homologous pairs. Alright, so let's see. So sex determination in humans, and now there are 46 chromosomes present in the human nucleus and they are arranged in pairs. So we say 23 homologous pairs. Yes, right. Now out of these we divide them into two groups, and one would be from pair number 1 to pair number 22. Now these are termed as autosomes, and they will have the genes that code for the general body traits. But the last pair, which is the pair number 23, is termed as the sex pair or the sex chromosome, as this will code for the gender or the sex of that organism, of that human, right? All right, now what do we find here? In this combination, we'll find that there will be a difference when there is a male or when there is a female, right? So what will happen is that in the female, in the 23rd pair, will be two long chromosomes, and these are termed as X chromosomes. So the combination becomes X and X, and that means it's a female. Whereas in the male, this combination would not be there. What would we find? We'll find a long X chromosome, but along with that, that is where the difference will now start, because there will be a very, very short chromosome, a small chromosome, and that is termed as the Y chromosome, right? And mind you, you can imagine that this part, the genes present on the female chromosome, are missing here on the Y chromosome, right? So it's because it is far, far shorter than this. So this combination will give the male combination, right? So when we look at the gametes present in humans, what do we find? That if the female is going to get X and X, they split up and they come into cells which are known as the ova. So in the case of the female, the ova will only have the X chromosome, right? And there is no other option available. Whereas in the male, what will happen is, because the combination given to a male was this, when they split up, now the gametes in the male, they are termed as sperm, and we can draw a tail to represent that it's a sperm. And we see that it will have either X or Y, because these will two separate out and they'll come into these gametes. So the sperms have either, we can write it down as either X or Y chromosome will be present in the gametes. Now, at the time of fertilization, that is when the gender of the zygote, the gender of the offspring will be determined. And what do you mean by that? Well, for example, if the female has, the ova has an X chromosome, right? But we know that in any case, it'll always be X, okay? So the option from the female side will always be X, whereas in the sperm, what can happen is, I'll draw a tail to represent, it can either be X, right? Or it can be Y. So when this combination comes in, or when this combination comes in, and they will fuse to form a cell known as the zygote. So the ova and the sperm, in the process of fertilization, they will fuse to form one single cell, or the nuclei will actually fuse, or the chromosomal material that comes together. And that the new cell that is formed, which will be from the ova actually, is going to be the zygote. Now, what will happen to these alleles or these chromosomes when they come together? We write them down as X and X. And in this combination, what will happen is the zygote will be slightly bit different, because it will have the X from the female but Y from the male. Now that would mean XX would mean what? That is a female. So we say this is going to be the female zygote, and this would be the male zygote. All right, so that is the background. Let's have a look at one of the crosses, so we can see how can we write it down in a genetic cross. Let's see. So let's start with the male or the father and the female, all right, or the mother, right? Now, the father will have the combination of XY and the mother will have the combination of XX, right? So the gametes that will be formed will be X and Y. So it is X or Y, and you can add this either X or Y. It's a very common term coming in your MCQs as well, either X or Y. And whereas in the female, what will happen is there is only going to be one option. So this would be this or this, or you can say only this, only X. Some of the books only when the gametes are the same, you don't have to write them twice. You can just write them down as once, but it's okay if you write them twice, doesn't matter. Now let's draw a Punnett square. Let's see what will be the probability of a male or a female child being born at every fertilization, right? So what will the probability be? All right, and what will the probability be? Let's draw a Punnett square. Now this is going to have the male gametes. So the male gametes are what? X and then Y, right? And this would have the female gametes, the ova that is, and their only option is X. Okay, so when we put them together, how do I fill it up? I'll just write down the letters here, Y and Y, and if I go like this, I fill up the rows and this. So when we have X and X, this will be a female child or a female zygote. This will be a female offspring, right? This would be now be a male. Now, what is the ratio? If we take out the ratio, the phenotype or the genotype ratio, what do we discover? That at every fertilization, the chance of the zygote, the offspring being a female or a male is actually, what is that? 2 and 2. So the ratio is 2:2, simplified as 1:1, or we can say 50% chance of either. 50% chance of either what? A male or a female. So at every fertilization, nature has given both genders an equal chance. At every fertilization, there is going to be half a chance of the offspring, the zygote being a male, and half a chance of it being a female. All right, so I hope you've understood the topic. Thank you.